Hello, this is Uzreport World News with me, Bahram Gaffarov. Before shifting to news, I would love to congratulate everybody on the new year on behalf of Uzreport TV. May the new year bring you new opportunities and may rise you to new heights. Be thankful for the year prior and hopeful about the next year. Wishing you much prosperity, good health and good luck. No matter what news you hear, always stay positive. Uzbekistan plans to attract $7.5 billion foreign direct investments and increase the volume of exports to $17 billion in 2021. The Ministry of Investment said it intends to raise above figures by promoting Uzbek brands in the world. The volume of FDI Uzbekistan has attracted in 2020 is expected to comprise $6.6 billion, which is far more than the figure of 2019. The volume of exports is expected to hit $15.1 billion. Despite a 40% drop in global foreign direct investment and a 25% decline in world trade, large investment projects have been initiated and are underway in Uzbekistan. The Ministry of Finance of Uzbekistan said the country's external debt will be moderate, even with additional borrowing on year-end review. He believes that the government will manage its finance and we will be able to pay back all debts.
Finance Minister detailed about the important tasks assigned to the ministry through the President's address to Parliament, in particular, the management of public external debt. During the pandemic, additional costs had to be incurred. Unprecedented spending has been made on the healthcare system. In addition, expenditures were made to support the economy, to provide additional financial assistance to the vulnerable at a difficult time in terms of social protection that led to increase the number of recipients of social benefits dramatically. These costs required more debt than we thought. However, we will try to curb it so it won't be a burden for us and the next generation, the minister said. According to Ishmetov, one of the important achievements of Uzbekistan was the attraction of the country's foreign debt through Eurobonds denominated in the national currency. For the first time in the history of Uzbekistan, government bonds were placed in the London Stock Exchange in the national currency. At the same time, private and foreign investors have lent 14.5% to Uzbekistan for a period of 3 years. This is a great achievement for Uzbekistan. We managed to raise about $200 million of the $750 million debt on the London Stock Exchange in sums. This is a very important indicator. As of October 1st, 2020, the total external debt of Uzbekistan amounted to $29.3 billion. The country's total debt ceiling in 2021 is expected to be less than 60% of the GDP, and it is planned to raise $5.5 billion next year.
The new 7th Mountain Resort in Tashkent region has welcomed journalists for its grand opening ceremony. A ribbon-cutting event was held by local authorities and a site owner.
The tourist center lies on the slope of the Chingan mountain ranges and boasts with different types of lodging as well as sauna, pool and relaxing facilities. Because of the pandemic, our people were deprived from full relaxation and leisure. Taking into account these factors, we have tried to provide all options for business to establish domestic tourism. After all, it's good if the nation receives the service they want and at the same time money will not go outside of the country. I suppose in order to attract tourists from abroad to our country, we must first win the trust of our fellow citizens. According to the manager of the leisure complex, the site can provide 50 permanent job places for locals and 50 more during the high seasons.
2 new modular hospitals have opened their doors in the capital and Chuy region of Kyrgyzstan. It took only 1 month for the implementation of projects which were financed by the government of Uzbekistan. This was reported by the press service of Ministry of Health of Kyrgyzstan. Uzbekistan is one of the first countries to support Kyrgyzstan during the pandemic. Oxygen concentrators, respirators and other medical devices and light modular structures for 400 beds were delivered from the neighboring country, Health Minister Alimkadir Beshanaliyev said. Advisor to the Prime Minister of Uzbekistan, Mehritin Hayretdinov, in turn, said if the fraternal Kyrgyz people have fever infectious diseases, then the Uzbek people will be safe, since about 15,000 people cross the Kyrgyz-Uzbek border every day. According to François Bijou, Charter Affairs of European Union delegation in Uzbekistan, the organization made 37 million euros ready to be dispersed for immediate action to support the load of the pandemic. It aims at supporting the government of Uzbekistan to formulate a comprehensive strategy for the modernization of agriculture at the horizon 2030.
98% of the program has been committed and contracted, which is a very good result. All activities are under implementation, and approximately two-thirds of the budget has been already disbursed. So our program, in fact, focused in that era on 5 main actions. The first action, which was also the main action, around two-thirds of the program, was concentrated on agriculture, modernization of agriculture, and development of agri-food chain. The second was a very crucial also issue for the future of Uzbekistan, which is the management of water, both for the private citizen, but also, and for sure, for agriculture. So these two issues are indeed linked. The third action we developed was a public delivery program for rural area to bring administration to the citizen and to avoid them long trip to cities or capital, and therefore to give them more time to and more savings in their life. The fourth action we developed was targeted to education, vocational education training, in order to develop a new skill for agriculture. If there is a modernization of agriculture, it is so crucial and important that a dedicated labor force and competent labor force can also join this modernization. And finally, we also supported Uzbekistan in its effort to the negotiation for accession to the World Trade Organization. This is for sure, in brief, the main action. But also I would like to say that we have not forgotten the human rights development, the NGO and civil society organization, the fight for violence against women, gender equality in general, and also to defend the labor rights in protecting child labor, eradicating child labor, and forced labor in the cotton sector.
The car-making giant of Uzbekistan has been disparaged for charging customers who have no other option too much, and the quality of its products is noticeably inferior to those produced elsewhere. Furthermore, numerous negative opinions have been circulating online with the intention of blaming the company over the last couple of months. Ultimaker has reputably gone too far to be able to call such statements defamation. According to the company, due to the so-called slander, the Ultimaker has allegedly experienced a significant decrease in sales of around $54 million.
The company's legal department manager, Rustam Shaymardanov, blames the spreaders of specially ordered messages that negatively impacted not only the reputation of the national brand, but also on the country's economy. Such losses did not lead the company to pay taxes and other social payments to the state budget. Due to the lack of funds, letters of credit planned for September, payments to foreign partners were postponed in October-November period. Next, these messages negatively affected the investment attractiveness of Uzbekistan. Many investors are hesitant to invest in the country now, the lawyers argues. Earlier, the Oli Majlis Audit Committee reported that automakers in the Uzautosanat system did not pay a fee for the purchase of new domestically produced cars. For example, Uzautomotors has evaded $56 million tax in 9 months. The committee has recommended reconsidering the benefits of Uzautosanat. In addition, the monopolist has signed a contract for the supply of 8,750 Chevrolet Equinox cars in 2020-2021. The agreement is worth almost $200 million, or about $22,845 for one car, whereas it sells it for $33,664 in Uzbekistan.
The highly contagious coronavirus variant first seen in Britain was detected in California on Wednesday, as hospitals in the state remain on the brink of crisis. The new variant was confirmed to have been detected in a patient in Southern California who had no known travel history, suggesting it is spreading in the community. The discovery comes a day after the first known US case was documented in Colorado. However, during an online briefing, top infectious disease specialist Anthony Fauci said the variant was not more deadly.
There's no indication at all that it increases the virulence, and by virulence I mean the ability to make you sick or kill you. It doesn't seem to make it more strong in that regard. In addition, it doesn't seem to evade the protection that's afforded by the antibodies that are induced by vaccine.
The emergence of the variant in the US makes the rollout of vaccines that much more critical. Thousands of frontline workers have already been inoculated in California, including firefighters who've been providing an ambulance service. California residents are being urged to stick to restrictions until it's their turn to receive the shot. Much of the state is under an indefinite stay-at-home order, which was renewed on Tuesday. But Fauci said that with mass immunization in the spring, he expected that life would get back to some semblance of normality by next fall.
Like thousands of key workers around the world, Iranian nurse Soumaye Hosnzadeh spent the first 40 days of the pandemic on the hospital front lines. As a supervisory nurse, Hosnzadeh and her colleagues provided the majority of patients' day-to-day care, working back-to-back shifts, even on vacation days, as the number of hospitalised cases was on the rise daily.
Many of our colleagues got infected, but they continue their work more determinedly than before because they themselves have suffered this pain and they're trying to get better in order to take care of patients.
Separated from her family for 40 days, she described the first few months as a war scene. Iran's health ministry says 60% of nurses have been infected with the coronavirus, and 10 months on, Hosnzadeh's uniform still consists of a mask, double gloves, a cap, a hazmat suit and overshoes. To remove all these at the end of the day is delicate and complicated, she says, but necessary in order for her to safely go home. Iran has been the worst-hit country in the Middle East by the global pandemic. It launched human trials of its first domestic COVID-19 vaccine candidate on Tuesday, according to state media. Tehran says it could help it defeat the virus, despite US sanctions interfering with its ability to import vaccines. SATAD, a giant state-affiliated conglomerate, says production of the vaccine could reach 12 million doses per month, 6 months after a successful trial ends. The first volunteers to take the vaccine were officials of the conglomerate and the daughter of its head, an apparent effort to boost public confidence in the vaccine. An Ethiopian migrant who became a symbol of integration in her adopted home of Italy and profiled in numerous international media as an immigration and business success story has been killed on the farm she ran. That's according to police. A local media outlet says that one of her employees has admitted to raping and killing 42-year-old Egitu Adeo Gudeta with a hammer. The employee is said to be from Ghana. Gudeta made her home in the mountains of the Trentino region's Valle dei Moceni, making goat's cheese and beauty products in her farm La Capra Felice, the happy goat. Her story was seen as a bright spot in Italy at a time of rising hostility towards immigrants, fueled by the right-wing League Party. Gudeta escaped from Addis Ababa in 2010 after her participation in protests against land grabbing angered local authorities.
So far, these have been the latest news for today. Goodbye. Take care.